Hey there, fellow researchers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to New Cycle, Episode 3, Fabric and Parchment. I just got warned that it is a dry summer. So likely we're going to have extreme drought or severe drought or at least slight drought. We'll have some level of drought for the next replenishment phase, which should be fine because we are sitting on an immense amount of stockpile of stuff. 4 children were just born this year. So if we take a look at the population tab here, we have 42 adults and 8 children. So as soon as those children, and it's a little weird because to enter the new cycle, we want a population of 50, but it doesn't count children. It only really counts adults. So right now we have enough children that once they age up, we will hit that new cycle population threshold and progress to the roots and branches cycle. Maraman, thank you for the resub. Oh, and here we go. A group of travelers are coming in. So if I get lucky, these travelers are going to be greater than 8 or greater. It looks like 5. I don't know if it's represented that way. I guess we'll see. I think it is, though. And they walk to your main hall before you accept them. Yep, 5 workers. Sure, let's add them. So now we're up to 47 of 50. And some of those children were born last year. 4 of them were born this year. So 4 of them were born last year, which means adulthood comes kind of early on. It's not like 18 years or whatever. So pretty soon those children will enter the workforce and we'll hit that 50. But let's get these guys working. Guess I'll start collecting fish as well. Oh, here's a sandstorm. So, it's a dry summer. So, water production has gone down, farm efficiency has gone down, and people have a chance to be heat stroke. So there's a increased sick chance, which means that the healthcare, whoops, wrong tab, in here is lower as a result of the dry summer. And then we just get hit with a sandstorm. A sandstorm reduces workforce, increases maintenance costs in buildings, and although we're not maintaining our buildings anyway. So as you can see, as a result of the sandstorm and the bartering rights, and then also the fact that morale takes a hit from just the sandstorm effects, we end up with a situation where we're just like less productive. And what I typically find during sandstorms is that also happens to be, and this plays a role a little bit later on, but sandstorms usually roll in for like 1 to 3 days. And because of the hit to workforce efficiency, if you're relying on power plants, like coal power plants, when they reduce efficiency, you will have brownouts. So that's when you would want to go into your main hall and activate like emergency work shifts, which adds extra workforce for all classes at a cost of morale and health. Or alternatively, go here and increase work shifts to offset it if you want to avoid those brownouts. But no, the sandstorms don't help with windmill efficiency. They're the same. Storms help with windmill efficiency, but not sandstorms. So thanks, Sandstorm, for blanking us in. We had a harsh winter into a dry summer. Okay, the dry summer just ended, so that's good. The sickness variable has gone now. And the sandstorm's over. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's not going to be a lot of replenishment next year. Unfortunately, sand does not count as liquid precipitation. Silica precipitation, perhaps. I am being warned that my stockpiles are almost full. Because we're stockpiling like a truly ridiculous and obnoxious amount of water. But these bad boys are cheap to build, so I spam them willingly. Did I miss? No, that looks right. And another merchant ready to barter. So I can sell meat for some tools and iron ingots. I don't really need to do that. I'll just sell a token amount to have them go away. You could also just like reset it or reject them. But I find that just like selling a token amount works just fine. Getting pretty close to the stone capacity max. So let's adjust that. Tools as well. Stone. Simple meals. And water again. We're almost at the 50k mark. 70k. Alright, specialization. So here is another choice for you guys to make. Chief, we have accumulated a massive pool of know-how, but it remains largely undirected and unrealized. We need to train individuals with more advanced knowledge and practical experience in certain fields. These people will take on specialized tasks rather than odd jobs. We'll put them in charge of buildings wherein they can put their expertise to use. As a natural consequence of this, their needs will differ from the rest. We should begin training craftsmen as soon as we can. I can't yet. I haven't had the population requirement met. But we need to set up standards, separating various fields of work, and establishing necessary qualifications. So there is a choice here. We can give an accelerated craftsman training program. So what this will do is craftsmen will train quicker, but the craftsmen themselves will require more power tools to be consumed so they work, and it reduces their efficiency for craftsman classes and increases the chance of work accidents. So basically, haste makes waste. Alternatively, our future will be built by competent hands. So it increases the efficiency of craftsman classes, reduces the probability of work accidents, decreases the workforce of the craftsman class, but they train, their training time and resource requirements doubled, and their success rates are decreased. So train them quick and have them be wasteful, or train them slow and have them be efficient. Our future will be built by competent hands. Okay, that is hands down the winning choice here. So, a new regulation, intensified craftsman training. And if you're wondering, your regulations here are going to be in the overview. So, if you take a look at your settlements, your bartering rights are here, your intensified craftsman trainings. So, all of the active regulations that are permanent effects get listed here. And then the active effects as a result. So, for instance, in good hands, as a result of that choice, the intensified craftsman training gives the in good hands, gives additional efficiency for craftsmen now. So any workplace that have craftsmen will benefit from that. And another group of travelers. Yes, and this group of travelers has pushed our population above 50, which means we're going to be entering the next cycle. Roots and Branches just got done. So the first thing I'm going to research here is the vocational training, which allows us to train craftsmen But then we can start going through the other research trees. And the highlights, I would say, is weaving to be able to do clothing, and then surveillance if you want to start doing world map exploration. So, Cycle 3. We get access to the Kale Yard, Basic Mine, Kiln, Pit, Scouts Guild, Technical Bootcamp, Tailor, Vegetables, Herbs, Copper Ore, Coal, Clay, Bricks, Paper, and Clothes. Right on. Let's make sure that with the additional population we just got, we're still in the net positive for meals. That's good. I am going to temporarily employ these 5 people as like fishermen or stone cutters, but I'll be switching them over to something else in a second. So we're researching vocational training, which gives us access to paper and technical boot camp. Public health, foreboding whispers. Chief, we know you're in no place to make we're in no place to make excessive demands, but this is a fundamental issue. Community health is deteriorating to the point that we might start maybe losing people. So what they want me to do is to take the right steps to achieve at least regular health and maintain it for 30 days. So worker class health needs to be above 40. So here, as you can see, it's 6. So some of that is just season. Some of it is the clothing distribution rate, which we can fix. But the access to medication and health services, I don't have the technology to address that just yet. So in order to do this, what I can do is to reduce the workforce to give them sort of like time off. But I have 10 days to complete this, which is a decent amount of time. All right. How much did the needle move? I'll wait a day, see how much the needle moved, giving them some more time off. Okay, it worked. Good. So if we take a look here at the health, it's not above 40, but it went up enough that I guess it satisfied the quest. So I'm going to ramp the workforce back up to... Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it at 0.75, because the morale is high enough that it doesn't fully offset their time off, but it's enough that I'll allow it. Bigger portions. Chief, our portions are not filling enough. Okay, so this is another choice for you guys to make. So what I could do is permanently increase the ration sizes. So what a regular ration will be increases per capita by 30% for each distribution level. Or say, no, don't do that. So this is, all it does is feeds them more, but with no real tangible benefit, I don't think. I'm already feeding everyone double rations. So we are, we're like heading to a world like Wall-E, where everyone's sitting in like hover chairs and morbidly obese. I'll have you guys vote on that. Alright, we're not going to do it. By small margin, we're not going to do it. It's funny, because I'm already giving them double rations, so it's like, what the hell? What more do you want? They want quadruple rations. Yeah, right. It's true. It's what they wanted. I just said, nah. Alright, so we do have the technical boot camp and paper. So I'm going to fire 3 of the fishermen there. And 2 of the stone cutters there. go over to the lumber mill and have them start to make paper. So now with the production of paper, we can also build a technical boot camp, which will train craftsmen. It's a weird place for a technical boot camp right across the street from a cemetery, but I like it. All right, storing knowledge. We've grown fast, Chief. We will gain more and more importance as we keep growing. As a community, we need ways to produce and share knowledge more effectively. So it wants me to produce paper. That's a goal, and that's easy to achieve, so I'll say yes to it. Echo. Hey, Echo. Stop. So paper tends to be a resource required to unlock new tech. So if you take a look at cultivation, it requires 420 paper. Surveillance requires 360. Building statics don't require paper, so I'll just unlock that now, which is a kiln for making bricks and glass and cement, a pit to dig up clay and sand, and then the clay and brick resources. Mining surveying requires a lot of paper as well as weaving. So right now the priority is going to be produce a lot of paper for research. And I'm going to transition the lumber mill that we had producing lumber over to paper as well, because I have 1,000 lumber right now. So it's a pretty healthy amount that we're sitting on. Now that it's winter, let's also fire the the mushroom gatherers. Almost called it berry gatherers, like I was playing Banished or something. And then transition them over to collecting more fish. And maybe stone. So, we got the technical boot camp here. In order to train a craftsman, so the way it works is you could take workers and train them into craftsmen, and then you can eventually take craftsmen and train them into specialists. And it costs paper and tools to do it. I don't need craftsmen at the moment, so I'm not in a rush to train any, but we'll eventually get them as we unlock some of the newer higher tech stuff. So the mines require craftsmen, the weavers, or not require, but use. The mines, the weavers, they all require craftsmen, so we'll have need of that soon. As also to note, the next cycle is a pop requirement of 90. And fulfilling that quest that we just did gave solid progress, so it's a lot of morale for everybody. So our people are sitting on I'll bring their workforce back up to 1. They're sitting on so much morale that I don't even need to give them time off. Right on. Although the health is rather bad. Their health is bad because it's winter. We are starting to get wells exhausting. So this year has been a year of extreme drought with a sandstorm and barely any precipitation. So the water tables here for some of these wells are not going to really be significantly replenished. I feel like the music just got louder. They're not going to be significantly replenished in the springtime. There we go. Development complete for pits, kilns, clay, and brick. Also want to get Scouts Guild. So the pit here can be built anywhere. It doesn't have resource nodes, so everywhere is just fine. So I'll put my pits... Actually, is this a mining? Yeah, this is a mining area. So I'll put my pits... somewhere over here, out of the way. Is this stone deposit? Yeah, I don't want to interact with that. So I'm going to put 2 pits down, 1 for sand and 1 for clay. And I'll put 2 kilns across from the pits for bricks and for glass. I want the infrastructure built, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be employing people there just yet. So the Scouts Guild gives you the ability to start exploring the surroundings around the world. You don't need to build it next to the edge of your map tile, but because it doesn't have... I don't know, it just seems to me like a logical place to put it. So let's put it out there. Now, one critique I would say is that I find that the exploration mechanics are rather rudimentary and slightly underwhelming, and also somewhat easy to exploit. And I'll explain that once we get into it. I haven't discovered actually the way to do sand yet. I don't have that research, but we'll have at least the pit for sand once we have access to it. I'm also in the power negative. Oh, so some of this is just I need to turn off these things. They're not doing anything, so I'm just going to turn them off and save power. I will start producing bricks as soon as I... Maybe I'll start producing bricks now. I have just enough power for that. So let's go get some additional windmills in this, like, maxed out area. So I don't have to eke out watts. All right, that's about as all the power I can get at max efficiency. And after I do this, I'll start this brick setup. So, aim for a population of 100. Okay, sounds good. So let's see here. I'm going to fire the people working in the fish gathering, because I'm not actually using the fish at the moment. I'm just collecting it for if we have food shortages elsewhere. And start to employ clay pit dig and kiln workers. And I'll track bricks. I'll track clay in this spot and bricks in this spot. And the paper here. We had 4 days of sandstorm, 17 new structures built. Things actually did get replenished, which is surprising. I thought they wouldn't. And new developments. So, with the Scouts Guild built, we can create scout teams and deploy them to search the surrounding territories. So I'm going to deploy one set of scouts up to the Highlands. And why isn't it letting me pan this map? And another down to the valley. We also had some children, the first wave of children that were born, age up. So they entered the workforce, and I put them in the clay pits because I guess that's the type of employer I am. And the next task I have is to provide clothing. We're about to research weaving, and that is a supply that can be fulfilled, which will keep morale high. I'm going to get a tailor here. And I'll put the tailor actually next to the soup kitchens. So food and clothing, I only need one of them. Food and clothing will be adjacent to one another. And then once that's built, one thing that you might note is it does require a, well, it doesn't require a craftsman, but it can employ a craftsman. Will I need housing soon? No. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have space for 80, and I have 56. Alright, going through the research tree. We'll do cultivation for herbs, vegetables. So vegetables is a food source, and then herbs is for medicine. Which doesn't play a role until a little bit later on. Right now, I'm just trying to meet the supply and demand of clay so that there's not wasted labor over there. We got the kill yard, and then the last thing we're going to need is the mine surveying to be able to mine up coal and copper. And that costs bricks. And there we go. We are now providing clothing. But I'm going to actually... So, here you can see that there's a star here. So what this means is that if I only employed one craftsman, this work facility would not operate at all. It means that to run this tailor, it needs at least one worker. So there are some facilities, inversely, that will have like space for, let's say, 5 workers, but have a star on the craftsman for like one craftsman. And what that means is that you can fill it with workers, but it's not going to do anything until you employ at least one craftsman. So keep an eye on those stars, because they are very, very important when it comes to staffing. I am also going to train my first craftsman. So let's put them through vocational school. So for the cost of 200 paper and 5 basic tools, we have a chance for one of our workers to become our first craftsman in our community. And I'll employ them in the tailor. And let's go ahead and get mine surveying as well. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah. One of my wind turbines got destroyed. Very, very thoroughly destroyed. At least no one died. Could be worse. So taking a look at the distribution, I'm going to distribute double clothing. It's a little silly how much I'm distributing right now, but it's just to keep the work class happy so that they're effective. Because I am producing so much extra that it doesn't really matter. So, scouts have finally gotten to the valley, and the valley can be exploited for logs, meat, and water. So if we take a look here, this is the valley, and these scouts can be deployed to each resource question mark within the valley region, and to see what sort of resources there are. So there's going to be a hunting grounds, there's going to be like some sort of underwater aquifer, and there's going to be a forest in order to get those resources. Training results. Yay! He graduated. So we could take that craftsman and stick him in the tailor workshop for maximum workforce and the highest efficiency we can go. The other thing to note is that the craftsman now should get double food rations and double water rations to make sure that the morale is high enough. Because if their morale isn't high enough, they're just going to go right back to being a worker. They're going to demote themselves. So that's important to do as well. I don't yet have tools and clothes for them unlocked. Craftsmen wear different clothing and use different tools. But they do, all classes use the same housing, entertainment, health, and security. So if you take a look at the houses here, one of these houses should have a craftsman in it. Yeah, there he is. Hanging out. All right, and the Highland team got there. So there's logs, iron ore, meat, and water. So then this scout team will poke around the Highlands for those resources. I'm going to pause and just talk a little bit about, well, I'll do that in a minute. I want to discover some of the resource nodes first so that you can understand what regional resource exploitation even looks like. Okay, so now the craftsmen have a morale of, it's subpar, but it's going up due to their needs being met. So it's going to go up to 50, which means that there shouldn't be any problems with them quiet quitting and demoting themselves back to being fresh. So scouts found barren land, so there's nothing in that part of the province. Keep redeploying them. And we got basic mine with copper and coal as possible resource to exploit. So this is the first time I'll be setting up a mine. The way it works is that the mines are where the mines are built, it can exploit all the things that are linked to. So I'm going to want to build a mine here for the possibility of getting all 4 materials within this mountain. So that's a really good spot for a first mine. Hook it up to the road. Get that built. And mines can only exploit one type of resource at a time, and then each of these individual mineral deposits will need to be analyzed to see what's physically there. So there is iron, copper, coal, tin. Those are the resources. And then with those resources, you can make iron bars, copper bars, bronze bars, tin bars, and coals is mostly used for fuel. And I alluded to this really early on with the drilling layer, but there's also petroleum. There's also crude oil as part of the technological progress that you get to. So mining 101. Chief, we now know enough to be able to build our first mine. So, yeah, get the pickaxes ready. This is just build a mine. I'm already doing that. Can you make bronze with the copper and tin? Yeah, that's how it's forged. So over here in the forge, you'll get new recipes opened up as you tech progress. So here, as you can see, the insulated furnaces allows you to do bronze, and then enforced durability allows you to do tin. All right, there we go. Finally. This here is a coal-rich area. So if we take a look at the highlands here, I can build... I don't have the technology to build regional mines, but when I do, I can build a regional mine to mine that coal. The reason why I think it's a little exploity is in the region when you have infrastructure built up, so let's say I had a coal mine here, it produces coal whether or not I actually employ people in that region. It like makes you magical resources. So essentially, the more you explore and the more you set up buildings, there is basically no upkeep cost to those buildings, but they produce resources, which is weird. I'm only going to scout a few zones because essentially all zones are kind of the same. Once you scout a few, you've scouted them all. And I'm not interested in like setting up a giant network of like free, weird, exploited resources. But if you were to min-max, you know, that would be one way to do it, is to just explore everywhere and set up facilities everywhere to get a whole bunch of free wood, water, meat, copper, iron, coal, etc., etc. Wow, more barren land. This valley sucks. And this becomes really important because, and I kind of alluded to it, that water becomes very scarce later on in the game. So building a giant network of wells all around the exploration world map makes it rather easy to provide quite a lot of water. So let's start analyzing the deposits here to figure out what kind of underground resources we even have for this mine. And for that, I just need to produce a lot of brick. So maybe what I'll do is ramp up my brickworks so that we can get more of that. So who do I fire? I have 1,000 meat. I don't want to fire you. Actually, I should be gathering mushrooms right now. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. So I have a lot of stone, so I'm going to fire these stone cutters because I can spare them for now. Put some as mushroom gatherers to replenish my mushroom stocks. And then more kiln workers for bricks. We're going to need a lot of bricks in order to explore those mine shafts. So this one was an iron vein. And once we get a little bit more brick, we can do the others as well. There's also, of course, watchtowers to increase immigration. So in these regions, I can also set up watchtowers and build them, which should drive up attraction value here. A potential water source. So here, as you can see, if I had the expansion resource, I could build a well here in the highlands. And the watchtowers are built. Let's see actually if it shows. Yeah, outer awareness plus 20. As you can see, the immigration value has gone up as a result of those watchtowers. Think of them as giant signs pointing that like point towards our settlement, saying like salvation is around the corner, something akin to that. Sounds weird, but like that's essentially what it is. Thank you for tuning in to New Cycle, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 30th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Solar Flare survivors.